close debate, I would invite the honourable member for Calgary-Beddington to close debate on Bill 202.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is no small thing to stand in this privileged position and to have the opportunity to propose legislation that will improve the lives, and in this case, educations of Albertans. One of the downsides to a populist premier is that her posturing against Ottawa and her willingness to say really any old thing that pops to mind on the radio really sucks up all the air in the room. The headlines and the clicks are drawn to that sensationalism, and the result is that we aren't having serious conversations. What is happening in schools and classrooms across Alberta is serious. It's maybe a bit dry for headlines, and perhaps Albertans have even become numb to the subject as it has dragged on and on over the last 5 years of this government, lacking any serious attention to the issue of class size and complexity. This bill does the most it can within the constraints of a private member's bill. It is simply asking this government for some transparency. It's asking for a return to public reporting on class size. Now, we know this is quite possible for school boards to achieve. One of the major urban boards has continued doing this work even after the government dropped the requirement in 2019. This bill is also asking for reporting on classroom complexity. Anyone who has talked to a teacher over the last decade is sure to have received an earful about the challenges posed by increasing complexity in our classrooms. And finally, this bill asks for a commission on learning excellence to gather every 10 years and have these important and serious conversations about class size, complexity, and other issues such as changing technologies in our classrooms. I'd like to thank my colleagues from across the aisle who took the time to stand up and speak to this bill. Though their debate points were misguided, some were delivered with good intentions. I'll admit to being confused by some of the debate points. One member spoke at length about the carbon tax. So I know we can get off on some tangents in here, but that was some impressive stretching to get from class sizes to carbon taxes. One member bemoaned how this bill doesn't get more funding into the classrooms or invest in building new schools. Now, some folks are new here, like me, and perhaps didn't quite understand the limitations on a private member's bill. Believe me, if I could have brought a piece of legislation to this House that would have allocated more dollars for education in this province, I certainly would have done so. The Education Minister himself even took the time to speak on Bill 202. Now, he was concerned the timelines on the Commission for Learning Excellence were too long. It wouldn't move quickly enough to be meaningful. If only there was a way we could say, amend the bill as presented to address that concern. Alas, I fear the UCP is about to quietly kill this bill before it proceeds to that stage. And as it turns out, that wasn't really the issue for the minister anyway, because with his next breath, he said, we don't need such a commission. We have a ministry to do that work. Now, from a government that assembles a task force every other month, this was a pretty breathtaking display of hypocrisy. You need to literally wait only 5 more minutes, and we'll be talking about another UCP proposed commission. Maybe they don't bother to assemble a commission or task force if they don't have a buddy who needs a quick $250,000. Now, this government loves to stand in this House and crow about the success of their Alberta is Calling campaign. Now, whether people uproot their lives or change their behaviours based on a billboard is debatable, but certainly it is a fact that Alberta is growing, and that growth needs to be accommodated in our schools. This bill is just the first step in addressing how we best support Alberta's future leaders. This is not about limits or caps. This is about transparency and accountability. This is about collecting good information so we can make good decisions. This is about our kids and how we best support their learning needs. This government needs to let the sun shine in and let Albertans see what is really happening in our classrooms. They won't be happy with what they see, and it's time for this government to face up to that.
The honourable member for Calgary-Beddington has moved second reading of Bill 202, Education, Class Size and Composition Amendment Act 2023. Does the Assembly agree with the motion for second reading? All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Please say no. No. The motion is defeated and we have a division. Call in the members.